All right, more on cumulative frequency. This is a free response question for 1999 on a cumulative frequency chart. This is page 62 of your note spiral. This is page 62 of your note spiral. So the scenario, the table of data above provides the cumulative proportions for the population at selected ages for the years 1900 and the 1900 section and the year 2000 section. That's projected. For example, 34.4% of the population was under the age of 15 in 1900. Now remember, this is a cumulative frequency graph. So basically, 0% were under the age of 0. Well, that makes sense because all frequency graphs start at 0. And then here it says 12% were under the age of 5, 34% were under the age of 15. 90% were under the age of 55, 96% were under the age of 65, and if we took this out to about 120, the entire population, or 100%, would be below that. Whereas if we look at the year 2000, we have about half that are under the age of 5. We have, and their 34% was under the age of 15. This 34% was under the age of 25. Here we had 96% were under the age of 65. Here only 87% were under the age of 65, which means 13% were above that age, only 4% here. But once again, it's a cumulative frequency, so if they'd run this for ages, essentially they're ultimately probably at about 120, 100% of the population would be under that age. All right, so converting that table to a graph looks something like this. Now, please remember, this is the year 2000, and then this is the year 1900. 1900, right here, and the year 2000. All right, as you can see, the year 2000 is underneath the 1900 age. Why? Because this is getting to, the 1900 age gets to 100% faster than the year 2000 age. People seem to be living longer. All right, so approximate the median age for each distribution. Well, that's fairly easy to do, but you have to remember one fact. The one fact is the median is the 50th percentile. So I need to go up on my y-axis and find about 50%, which is about right here. So this represents about 50%. And so then I draw a line over to the second quartile, over to the 1900 graph, and I drop straight down. All right? So the median age for 1900 is about 22 and a half, 23 years old. And I'm estimating you're within a couple years, you're fine. You definitely should not, you should definitely be less than 25, and she should definitely be over 20. So 23 years old sounds about good. And then for the year 2000, I draw over and I drop down, and I'm looking at about 35, maybe 36 years of age. All right. And if you wrote 35 or 36, you should be good. Like I said, within 2 or 3 years, each way is fine. Then they ask us to approximate the interquartile range for each. Remember, IQR, or the interquartile range, equals Q3 minus Q1. So I need to find the third and first quartile for each distribution. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the 1900. All right, so with the 1900, if I draw over, oh, and by the way, I'm sorry, I need the third quartile, which is the 75th percent, and Q1 is the 25th percentile. So I'm going to start off with the 75th percentile. Doesn't matter which one you start off with. I'm just going to start off with that. So if I start off with that, that means I'm going to go up here 20, 40, 60, 80. There's 70. So somewhere between 70, 80, and I said it was about there. And I drew a horizontal line. And as soon as I hit the 1900 graph, I drop down. Okay? And somewhere between 35 and 40 is the 75th percentile. Well, I said it was at 37. All right. So I said Q3 was 37. And then I went over into the 25th percentile to the 1900, and I dropped down. And somewhere between, well, this is 5 and 15, that number must be 10. So about 11. So 37 minus 11 is 28. So basically, the middle 50% of the data is 28 years. The range for the middle 50% of the data is 28 years. Then I went on to do the same thing, for the year 2000. So beginning with the 75th percentile again, I drew all the way across till I hit the 2000 graph, then I dropped down. And so between 50 and 55, which is about at 53, which is what I wrote. All right, so the 75th percentile is about at 53. And then I did the same thing here, but for the 25th percentile, or Q1, which is right here, dropped over to the 2000 and dropped down, and somewhere between 15 and 20, and I said it was 18. So 53 minus 18 is 35. So we have a broader range of the middle 50 percentile in 2000 than we did in 1900. All right, so the IQR is larger, so it's a little more spread out or on ages in 2000 than it was 1900. So part C said, use the results from parts A and B, write a sentence or two for history textbook, comparing the age distributions for the years 1900 and 2000. Based on the shift of medians, so I'm addressing the center, the population as a whole is living longer. How do I know that? Well, my median age went from 23 to 36. So that's an increase of about 13 years. All right. The middle 50% are living approximately from 18 to 53 years of age in 2000s versus living from 11 to 37 years of age in 1900. In other words, the IQR. The change in IQR increased as well, which means that there was a greater spread in the ages of people in the year 2000. All right. So basically, in this case, I really can't talk about shape because I can't see anything, and I can't talk about unusual features because I'm not aware of that. But what I do know is that the middle shifted up, the median shifted up, median age, people lived longer, and there was a greater spread in 2000 than there was in 1900. And so in this case, you could have only talked about center and spread, and those are probably always the two most important. But generally speaking, they're going to give you a graph that you need to talk about shape. And as always, I caution you, if they're unusual features, you must describe them. All right, thank you for that.